All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Saturday. Hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. We got a long day of NFL, NBA ahead of us. So super excited to talk about this 7-game slate. If you guys are new to the channel, new to the stream, welcome. My name's DK. What we'll be doing here is we take a look at what we know so far. We'll review the Vegas odds, and we'll kind of go team by team, talk about the players, and then get to questions at the end. I'll be on for 30 minutes. It'll be a quicker stream, but I'm going to try to go as fast as I can here. So let's go over what we know so far. We got Karl-Anthony Towns we're gonna go through shoot around. He's gonna be a game time decision tonight. With him going through shoot around, I would say he's more on the probable side. We'll have to keep an eye on that. The 76ers, if you guys watched that earlier, they were super thin. And we have Westbrook did get ruled out. We got that news a little bit ago. A lot of guys are going to be out in the future for quarantining here with some of those Boston guys. Let's see. Yeah, that was the 76ers starting lineup. Maxey looked really good, though. That guy should get some more minutes for these 76ers. Again, Russell Westbrook out. Let's see. That is updated on me. So Neto's starting. I think he's definitely a viable punt. Should play mid-20s minutes. Brad Beal's going to have to do it all offensively if they're going to want to stay in this game, even in a tough matchup. We have Giannis now questionable. That obviously changes some things, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And then some of the stuff is for Sunday. Let's see. And that's kind of what we got so far. So, yeah, a lot of news up in the air right now. Let's refresh this. All right, so Hawks and Hornets, it's a 228.5 over-under. The Hawks are 5.5-point favorites. We have Heat, we have Wizards, a 231 over-under. The Heat are 7-point favorites. Suns and Pacers is a 216.5 over-under. The Pacers are 3-point favorites. Cavs and Bucks is a 220 over-under. The Bucks are 10.5-point favorites. That did go down a little bit. I think it's because Giannis questionable. Spurs and T-Wolves, a 235 over-under. The Spurs are 4.5-point favorites. Magic and Mavs, a 217.5 over-under. The Mavs are 6-point favorites. And the late night game here, Trailblazers and Kings, a 237 over-under. The Trailblazers are 5.5-point favorites. Yeah, unfortunately, Detroit Tigers fan again from Michigan. So Neto or Ish. Again, I think Neto's more the cash play. Ish is the nice pivot in GPPs. But let's start with Atlanta here. Atlanta, Charlotte. So Atlanta. Trae Young at the top is an interesting GPP play. The same exact thing I said about Steph Curry last night, right? I said I love Steph in GPPs because he let everyone down that other night. And did you see what Steph Curry did last night? Went for what, 60-something, 60-plus? So, yeah, Trae Young burned a lot of people that night. He's going to be super low-owned. He still has 50, 60-plus fantasy point upside. Great matchup here. Like him for GPPs. Collins and Capella, honestly, for me, are secondary plays in the slate. I think they're fine, but we might have some pretty good plays in the mid-range, especially if Giannis is out. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. And an interesting strategy here is you could fade the first 3 games in the slate. Give yourself another hour, and then see if we get that Giannis Antetokounmpo news, right? Because, yes, there's some good plays in these first 3 games, but I don't know if there's one must-play in these first 3 games. So strategy-wise, I think what you could do, wait it out. If we get Giannis Antetokounmpo ruled out after the lock, like some of those Bucks are going to be a little bit lower owned than they should, right? LeBron James last night can pivot to him, 6% ownership with no Anthony Davis against the Bulls. Now, it didn't work out for me. He busted, which I'm still not over because that pivot cost me thousands of dollars. Literally thousands of dollars. I pivoted from Pascal Siakam and Halliburton to LeBron and Caruso. So, but yeah, if we get that Giannis ruled out news after these games lock, a lot of people will have games or players in these early games. So it's a matter of, do you want to take that risk, right? For me, I think that's what I'm going to do because if Giannis is out, I want that Milwaukee exposure. But yeah, back to Atlanta. So Collins, Capella, they're secondary plays for me. Same thing with Hunter. I know he's been playing well. I think he's a fine option. If he's like a last piece in, sure, should play over 30 minutes. But I'm not prioritizing him at 6K. Same thing with Herter, Bogdanovich, Reddish. These guys are honestly just secondary plays for me. Like, it's a good matchup. I like them, but there might be better plays, right? There might be better plays here if we get news going our way. So hard to feel super great about any of those guys. On the Charlotte side, I like the pricing on the guard. So Hayward's a little expensive for me, even though it does have upside. LaMelo, Rozier, Graham, at least one of these guys will have a really good game. If the game blows out, it's probably going to be LaMelo Ball. Now, in competitive games, he has only played 24 and 26 minutes. Still getting he almost had a triple-double in 26 minutes. So this guy is very, very skilled. Again, love that he stuffs the stat sheet. It's a good matchup here. So LaMelo Ball is still in play, and if the game does get out of hand or one of those guards struggle, he has a ton of upside, even at that price. Rozier and Graham, I mean, the price on Devontae Graham is honestly pretty tempting. He's played 39 and 37 minutes, still not shooting great, 38 and 37 fancy points. If he's going to play close to 40 minutes a game, right, if long as he doesn't shoot the ball like 10%, he should play 35 plus minutes in a close game. I think he looks like a really good GPP play. Again, floor has been somewhat low on him, but when he's getting it going, like this guy does have some upside. So kind of like him for GPP. So again, I would slightly give the edge to him over Rozier. Washington is still a viable GPP play as well. The reason I'm not over the top on him is just the minutes have been up and down. He's been dealing with some foul issues. So 38 minutes the last game against Atlanta, then only 28 against the Pelicans. So it's like kind of going up and down for him. If things go right and he plays 35 minutes, I definitely think he could get you there. Biyombo is something we have to do it. And that's it for the Charlotte side. So let's move on to Phoenix and the Pacers. On the Phoenix side, I have no interest. So that's pretty easy. Let's move on to the Pacers. On the Pacers side, it's the top three guys. Sabonis, Brogdon, Oladipo. I like all three a good amount here. Sabonis and Brogdon should push for 40 minutes in a pretty solid matchup here. I think these guys are really, really safe options, even with upside. Right? Brogdon's at 8-4. He's had 50-plus the last three games. So really do like Sabonis and Brogdon. I think they're very, very safe plays at the top. Don't mind Oladipo either. Oladipo has been shooting the ball terribly. 5 of 14, 3 of 16, 6 of 20. He's still putting up like 35 points a game. Imagine what happens when he has a good shooting game. He'll go for 50. So like all three of the Pacers guys here at the top, I think they're all really solid plays. Turner, no thank you when Sabonis is healthy. Justin Holiday's the only other guy I'll mention here. With TJ Warren out, he has played 45 and 32 minutes. Again, a low usage guy. Do we have to go here? I don't think we have to, but I think he's in play for value if you need someone cheap. And that's it. I guess you could throw McConnell in the mix. He'll probably get 15 to 20 minutes. He's a good point per minute guy. But again, do we have to go here? I don't think we do. Let's move on to Miami and Washington. So Miami's a balanced team. Normally a team I don't have a ton of interest, but this is a really good matchup. If Washington can keep it close, I definitely think a couple guys have upside here. I think the guy that stands out and is going to be pretty popular today is Jimmy Butler at 7-4. My only issue with Jimmy Butler, is there are games where he will defer offensively. Right? If you've been following NBA DFS for the last year, there are some floor games for Jimmy Butler. Like, he will defer offensively some games, and he'll defer to Dragic and Hero and Bam and just kind of sit back and not do a whole lot. There's also games where he'll kind of take over, and he has 50-plus fancy point upside. So which Jimmy Butler we're going to get? The price is pretty appealing if this game can stay competitive. He's not going to play huge minutes, but should play around like 32, 33, I would say, in a close game. And again, fantastic spot for him. So Jimmy, I think, looks like a really, really good play there in the mid-range. Just a matter of which Jimmy Butler do we get tonight. Bam is still playable, but would probably prefer the price on Jimmy. Again, love the matchup for these Miami guys. With Hero and Dragic, these are usually guys that look to when one of like Bam or Jimmy are out. I think they're just secondary plays for me at 6'6" and 5'7" respectively. Kelly Olynyk is now priced up to 5'3". I think he plays 25-ish minutes. At that price, though, I'll probably look elsewhere. Duncan Robinson's always in play for GPPs. He has played over 30 minutes the last 3 games. Just very, very dependent on the scoring. So it's just a matter of if you play him, he's got to hit his shots, right? So you got to know the risk when you play Duncan Robinson. The value I'll pass on the Washington side. So Russell Westbrook is out. So Beal at the top, I think it's going to be pretty popular. My one concern is he was playing huge minutes. He's playing like high 30s minutes, and the coach said he's got to take it easy on Beal's minutes. He said he's playing them too much. So that worries me a bit, right? If Beal's only going to play like 33, 34 minutes, it makes him riskier. Now, will the coach, to stay true to his word? Scott Brooks, I don't know. Right? But that quote obviously is a little bit worrisome that he said he's playing Bradley Beal too many minutes. So, Beal's had 79 and 50 fantasy points the last 2 games with Russell Westbrook playing. The upside is through the roof. He's going to have to do it all offensively if they want to stay in this game. So I think it makes sense if you're playing Jimmy Butler, who's going to be popular, I would run it back with Brad Beal, right? Because if Washington's going to stay in this game, it's got to be because of Brad Beal. Got to. No other. I don't see them staying competitive in this game without a big game from Brad Beal. And if he has a big game and this game stays competitive, Jimmy Butler will most likely have a good game for his price. So that's why it makes sense. If you're playing Jimmy Butler, I would run it back personally with Beal. Like them both. There is some blow risk, really. Like, it's a, 7-point spread. I think it should be a little bit higher. I do not think this Washington team is that good. I think it should be like a 10-point spread. So there's some risk here. But yeah, Beal, obviously the upside is there. Bryant at 6'7", I'll pass. Bertans is a viable play, but again, relying on the scoring. Don't mind Rui. The thing is, the minutes have been up and down for him. 19, then 33, then 24, then 37. So how many minutes are we going to get from Rui? He's a fine GPP play, but hard to feel confident right now just off what we saw the last 4 games from him minutes-wise. Yeah, rolling that to a 4-1. He'll play 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more. I think he's a decent value play for sure. Again, that one game when Westbrook is out, he played 32 minutes and had 40 fantasy points. I wouldn't expect that. That's not really what Roll Neto is. More of like a not just a super high usage guy, right? So I would not expect 40 again from him. What I think we get from Roll Neto is probably around 25 minutes and like 20 to 25 fantasy points. So I definitely think he's a decent value play there for 4-1 with no Westbrook. An interesting pivot off of I don't know if Neto's going to be super popular, but Ish Smith, I think, is the better point per minute guy. So he'll come off the bench. He'll probably play around 20, maybe a little bit more. He's an interesting pivot, right? If you want to get different in GPPs, I kind of like going to Ish Smith overall Neto. And then, yeah, I don't really have interest in the secondary plays here. Like Denny, Avija, I just don't think we have to do it. Minutes are really, really low on him. So that's it for Washington, Miami. Let's refresh this. Let's see if we got some more news. McConnell ruled out. Okay. So, slight boost probably to a guy like Aaron Holiday. I think maybe a little bit more viable now. Aaron Holiday, that is, with TJ McConnell out. Let's go back to the Pacers. So, Aaron Holiday's at 3-3. He should get some more run. I would say 25 to 30 minutes. Again, a pretty low usage guy, but I guess a little bit more viable with no McConnell. Let's talk about Cleveland, Milwaukee. So Cleveland are waiting on Sexton news. I don't think he plays. He didn't participate in the shoot around, so that's not a good sign. If he is out, again, there's a decent chance this game does not stay close. But if it does, it's going to be Drummond and Osman, right? Drummond's a guy that played 37 minutes at last game. If Giannis Antetokounmpo is out here, I kind of like this game stack. I know it's risky. I don't think a lot of people do it, but if Giannis is out, I'm more confident this game stays close. And the Cavs already are really shorthanded. So, like, Drummond, as long as he doesn't get in foul trouble or get benched, like we've seen a couple times this season, if he plays like 35 minutes tonight, I think he could have a really nice day at this price. So, Drummond, I actually like a good amount for GPPs. Also, Osman at 6'2". He played the point guard, basically. I mean, him and Dotson, but Osman more, he's the better, point guard if Sexton is out. He played 38 minutes. He shot the ball 19 times. So Osman and Drummond, if Giannis is out and you're playing Middleton or Drew Holiday or Bobby Portis, I think it makes sense to run it back with one or both of these guys. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking this game stack for GPPs if Giannis is out. If Giannis is in, I'm pretty worried this game does not stay close. So that's kind of my take. Again, it's Drummond and Osman for sure. Larry Nance is just a secondary play at 6'9", just a lower usage guy playing alongside. When I want to target Larry Nance is when Nance starts at the center, that's when I want to target Larry Nance. When he's starting at the 4 alongside Drummond, just a lower usage guy. Dotson, if Colin Sexton is out, I think he's an actual okay punt play. He played 35 minutes. He played a little bit at the point guard again. He had 6 assists. So, I think he would be in play for value. If you think Drummond struggles, then you can look to a guy JaVale McGee, or he gets in foul trouble, because McGee's a really good point per minute guy. That last game when Drummond got benched, 25 minutes, 36 fantasy points for McGee. So, yeah, McGee's a viable punt play. He did play a couple minutes alongside Drummond, which I thought was interesting. But that's really these end of the bench guys. Like Stevens probably gets 20 minutes, but I would rather play Dotson if I'm going to play someone cheaper, like a guy like JaVale McGee. All right, let's move on to Milwaukee. So obviously the big news is Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? He's questionable now, back spasms. My lean is he doesn't play. This is against Cleveland. I don't think they need him in this game. So if Giannis is out, you guys know the equation if you've been playing DFS, right? When Giannis is out last year, Middleton and Bledsoe. Well, Bledsoe's no longer on the team as Drew Holiday. So if Giannis is out, Middleton, Drew Holiday in a really good spot. I like them both quite a bit here. Again, that's assuming Giannis is out. Middleton and Drew Holiday become two of the better plays in the slate. If Giannis is in, I like Giannis as a GPP play. But again, then there's the big blowout risk. Also, Bobby Portis would become a little bit more viable. Minutes have been a little up and down in him, but he's a good point per minute guy. Would like him as well. Would prefer Drew and Middleton, but Bobby Portis would certainly be in play. You could even make the argument for DiVincenzo if Giannis is out, right? There's just a lot of usage to go around. So, a lot of these bucks have become a lot more viable. Like, even DJ Augustine, a possible punt play. So, this is the slate changing news. And you got to ask yourself, are you willing to take this risk and wait for the Giannis news? Let's refresh. I don't think we're gonna get it until after lock. Let's see. That's for Sunday. I was gonna say. Okay, so Yeah, it's just you got to ask yourself that, because if Giannis is out, there are some really, really good plays there in Milwaukee. Spurs and the Timberwolves. So the Spurs, I like them all. It's a fantastic matchup if Minnesota can keep it close, and they're just my kryptonite. Whenever I stack this Minnesota, the game blows out. When I fade them because of the blowout risk, it stays close. So it's just like whatever I do here with Minnesota, it always goes wrong for me, which is just so tilting, because this Minnesota team is just god-awful on defense. Just absolutely terrible. So the matchup is fantastic. It's good on both sides. I like this game as part of a game stack, especially if Karl-Anthony Towns is out, like D'Lo, Malik Beasley, and then run it back with a couple of these Spurs guys in the mid-range. I do like this as part of a game stack too. So DeRozan should play 35-plus minutes. Even with Aldridge back, I think he's a decent play. DeJounte Murray with no Derek White should play over 30 minutes. Keldon Johnson's fine. Aldridge had a big game last game. So a lot of these guys, even like Mills, Lonnie Walker, and Rudy Gay for value. I think all like 7 of those guys I mentioned are all firmly in play because of the fantastic matchup here. Now, there's some blowout risk, right? Always blowout risk with Minnesota, but these guys are in one of the best spots. So like all the Spurs on the Minnesota side, again, we got to monitor Cat News. He did go through shoot around, which makes me think he will play, but we'll have to obviously monitor it. If he does play, I'm more confident this game stays close. And then Karl-Anthony Towns himself would be an interesting GPP play, because I don't think a lot of people would play him, but would definitely have interest there against the Spurs. D'Lo and Beasley, these are guys I would look to for GPPs if Cat is out. If Cat is out, those two will have to have big games to keep this close. If Cat is in, then I'm not as high on those Minnesota guards. And then, like, the bigs, it's a rotation between, like, Reed, Vanderbilt, and Ed Davis. Hard to feel confident about any of those guys. Vanderbilt's been the best recently, but I just don't know how many minutes he gets if Cat is out. Hernan Gomez, a possible punt play. He was on pace for, high 20s minutes the last game, and it blew out. I think he's an okay value play. Again, he had the big game 2 games ago. That's it for Minnesota. Let's move on to Orlando and Dallas. Orlando also pretty short-handed. No Evan Fournier, no MCW. Cole Anthony, I believe, is probable. That quote where they said that he was exhausted after playing 32 minutes, but then they play him all the garbage time in the fourth quarter when he's chalk. And they don't play my Kem Birch. I play Kem Birch at 5% ownership. I think he's going to play the whole fourth quarter and blowout. I'm looking great. Just doesn't play at all. They just play chalk Cole Anthony in a blowout. Yeah, very happy about that for sure. But yeah, Vucevic at 8.8K. He was on. I played him last game. He smashed in 3 quarters. So I think he's still a really solid play here. If you're playing Luka Doncic, who I think looks like one of the better spin ups of the slate, might make sense to run it back with Vooch, right? Because they're pretty thin offensively. Vucevic is where the offense is going to run through. I think he's a nice play. Aaron Gordon's a stay away from me just because of the minutes. I still think he can get you there in 28 minutes, but right now they're just taking it easy on his time. Terrence Ross, I remember someone told me that he has a pretty high floor, and I was like, Terrence Ross has a floor of a single digits. 9 fantasy points, right? So he doesn't do anything else besides score the ball. I remember that guy told me that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He has a floor of literally single digit fantasy points. If he's not hitting his shots, he doesn't do anything else. So you got to know the risk, right? Now, he did just have a terrible game. You could buy into him. He's going to be low owned, but the floor is really, really low if he's not hitting his shots. And then, yeah, Bacon, I just don't think we have to do it on the slate. Kem Birch, again, I thought I was in great shape. I thought he's going to play all the blowout runs. Doesn't play in the fourth quarter. He should probably get around 20-ish minutes, but I don't know if we have to do it. Again, he's a decent point per minute guy. That's it for Orlando. Let's move on to Dallas. Dallas, Luka at the top obviously looks good. They're very, very thin. So Luka's got to be one of the safest spin-ups of the slate. Hardaway's fine. We'll have to shoot a lot more. Again, interesting GPP play. But the value here, again, with no DFS, no Josh Richardson, still no Porzingis. Maxi Kleber should play all the minutes he can handle. He played 36 minutes the last game. I think he looks like a solid value play. Don't mind Willie Cauley-Stein. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he's a good point per minute guy, so that's another value play. And then it's like, who else is going to play? Well, there's no Brunson, so I assume Trey Burke should get some good run. I think he's firmly in play for value. Neck-tat James Johnson, I think, probably gets over 20 minutes. I think he's in play for value. And then, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they start someone random like Nwundo or Josh Green. So we got to just monitor this. But right now, Dallas is a team I think you're going to want some exposure to with those guys out. Obviously, Luka at the top, but then some value. Finished up here the last game, Portland and Sacramento. So this game looks really appealing if it can stay close. I mean, did you see what happened that last game with Toronto and Sacramento? Right? So this game has a ton of upside if it can stay close. Both teams don't play any defense. So Lillard and CJ, I play Lillard at 15% ownership. The last game has 70 fantasy points in 3 quarters. And what do you know? The game blows out. Lillard has a ton of upside here if this game can stay competitive. Same thing with CJ. You guys know I'm a huge Yusuf Nurkic fan. That game against Chicago had a nice game, almost 40 fantasy points in 28 minutes. That game against Minnesota was on pace for about 40, and the game blew out. So I think Nurkic continues to go under-owned. He continues to go under-owned. People will box score watch. That is a mistake. This is a really good matchup. He's starting to turn it on. He had shot 8 of 10 last game, so I love the matchup here for Nurkic. The value guys are just stayaways. Cantor, if you think Nurkic is in foul trouble, you can take a punt on him in GPPs. The wings, there's too many. With Melo, Covington, Trent Jr., and Jones Jr., just don't think we have to do it. And let's finish up with Sacramento. So Fox played limited minutes the last game in his first game back. We'll see. I think there's maybe a chance they limit him again or even rest him. If he is rested, then Halliburton becomes one of the best plays in the slate. So you got to monitor this. If Fox plays and there's no limitations and he plays like 35-plus minutes, I actually like him quite a bit here at 8-3. So that's just something we'll have to keep an eye on. Hield is in play for GPPs, but he's just been shooting the ball terribly. So the floor is pretty low. I think I prefer Harrison Barnes, honestly. He just has a higher floor right now. He's been pretty solid. So Barnes is a decent player in the mid-range. Holmes at 6K. What I'm worried about is Luke Walton said they need to give Whiteside more minutes. Whiteside's not been in the rotation, and they said Whiteside needs to get more minutes for defense. So Hassan Whiteside is a really good point per minute guy. If they want to get Whiteside more minutes, that's going to limit Holmes, maybe a little Bagley. I think Whiteside himself could become a nice GPP play. Hassan Whiteside is a great point per minute guy. So it's just a matter of, does Luke Walton stay true to his word? Does he play Whiteside tonight? If I knew Whiteside was going to play, I don't know, let's say about 20 minutes, I would lock him in all formats. The easiest play of the night. Because he's that good of a point per minute guy. So really like Whiteside in here at GPPs if Luke Walton stays true to his word. It's just a matter of, does he stay true to his word? Because he said he's got to play Whiteside more. Whiteside's not been in the rotation. So how many minutes do we get from Whiteside? I don't know. Right? So that's why it's a great GPP play. But if he gets extended a bit, if he gets 15 to 20 minutes, I think he will absolutely destroy the slate at 3.2K. He can go for 30 plus in that time. So really like Whiteside for GPPs. Halliburton, if Fox is limited or is out, he becomes one of the best plays in the slate. So that's it there for my breakdown of the team by team. Let's refresh news, and then we'll get to questions. Again, stay on for about 7-8 minutes here. Wow. Bradley Beal ruled out. All right. So, back to the drawing board here. Bradley Beal now ruled out. Now I'm really worried this game does not stay close. No Westbrook, no Beal. I think Troy Brown's a pretty interesting play here now at min price. Troy Brown, Ish Smith, Neto. These guards have to do a lot more. All right. Yeah, that changes some things. Now it makes it even riskier with Jimmy Butler, right? Because of the blowout risk. And, again, these cheap guards. I think my favorite punt play now is Troy Brown in Washington. I think he gets some good minutes, and if the game blows out, he'll play even more. So Troy Brown is very intriguing for me. Again, Ish Smith, Neto, these guys will have to do a ton more. You can make the argument for Rui now, Bertans. All these guys get just a massive boost. So I have interest now in all these Washington guys for value. It just completely flips the slate on its head, right? Completely flips the slate in the head with Brad Beal ruled out. So now, and Giannis Antetokounmpo ruled out. What the hell is going on tonight, man? Okay, so I got 5 minutes left to talk. Brad Beal's out. Westbrook is out. You're going to want some Washington exposure here. The value guys, Troy Brown, Ish Smith, Neto, Rui, Bertans. These guys all look really, really solid here with Beal out. I think this game does blow out now with no Brad Beal, so I'm really worried about Jimmy Butler. Love the spot for him, but now I'm really, really concerned. And with Giannis ruled out, these two become fantastic plays now in Middleton and Drew Holiday. So, guys, I can only stay on for a couple more minutes. I got to make some changes here to Patreon content, so you got to bear with me here. I'll stay on for 2 minutes for questions, but again, Giannis out, it's Middleton, it's Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis becomes a lot more viable. With Beal out, you're going to want some Washington value. The slate is absolutely flipped on its head. A couple minutes for questions. Preseason, ready to generate another meme. Fade the whole slate. I love playing Troy Brown. Yeah, I mean, Troy Brown has a ton of upside here. Guys, we're at 400 viewers. Well, I appreciate if you can hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. Brad Beal, right? Did I just misread that? I saw, Brad Beal ruled out Saturday. So, again, the Washington value and Middleton and Drew is where you want to look. That also makes the Cleveland guys a lot more in play now. DK definitely. I'm a little bit in panic mode because I got to update some content here in the next 5 minutes. So 2 minutes, guys, for questions. Then I got to get out of here. Burke or Troy Brown? It's a tough one right now. I might lean towards Troy Brown. I need to see the starting lineup, though. Neto, less likely than Smith to smash in a blowout. I think I'd rather play Ish Smith now. It's close. I mean, Ish Smith, Neto, Troy Brown. I mean, I think this is... Again, the Washington guys being ruled out, it really does increase or Beal being ruled out really increases the chance of a blowout. So Washington value for sure. I mean, they could. You never know. They could keep it close. I mean, hey, Philly kept it somewhat close against Denver. Went to type Portis and type Ultimate Tilt. Dotson. See, I don't know if we have to do Dotson now. I think there's better value on the slate than Damian Dotson. I think Dotson's still fine, but I might prefer some of the Washington value now with no Beal and no Westbrook. All right, one more minute, guys. Then I got to get out of here, really, because I got to update some content, and I got to update it pretty quick. Vooch or Drummond? I'll go Drummond now. I think that game has a better chance to stay close, but that's so close. So close. I think Vooch is safer. Vooch is safer because he rarely gets in foul trouble and has a higher floor. So if you're going for the safety, it's Vooch, but I do like the price on Drummond for GPPs, which means he'll get benched. All right, guys. I apologize, but I do have to get out here because I got to update some content here. So thanks again. Have a great night, and I will see you guys all